Sheryl Swoopes' latest narrative about Caitlyn Clark backfired horrendously, making her a laughingstock of the WNBA. The Sheryl Swoopes saga continues. Swoopes has set records, won multiple championships and MVPs, and is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. However, the newer generation of fans will know her as the biggest Caitlyn Clark hater, and you can't even blame them at this point, as seemingly every time Swoopes gets a microphone in front of her, she tries her best to discredit Caitlyn's achievements. She has a long history of disliking Caitlyn, and has even gone as far as spreading misinformation to downplay what Caitlyn has achieved. Now, she went a step further, but in doing so, her narrative backfired and made her look stupid. By the end of this video, you'll see how Swoopes is ruining her basketball credibility. Caitlyn Clark is putting together the greatest rookie season in WNBA history. By doing so, she is also making her haters look foolish. One person who has been hating on Caitlyn since her college days has been Sheryl Swoopes. In her debut season as a professional basketballer, Caitlyn has posted 19.5 points per game, 8.4 assists per game, and 5.7 rebounds per game, and has transformed the Fever from one of the worst teams in the league to playoff contenders. Some even have faith that they will make a deep run. Meanwhile, despite Swoopes' best efforts, Caitlyn is a sure bet to win WNBA Rookie of the Year award. In fact, the ex-Iowa Hawkeye has also found herself creeping up the MVP ladder. Yet despite her impressive start to life at the top of women's basketball, Caitlyn isn't dominant, according to Sheryl Swoopes, who doubled down on her prediction that the young woman wouldn't dominate the game.
What I said was I didn't think Caitlyn or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
That's such an absurd statement. Caitlyn finished the regular season with a stunning 321 assists, surpassing Alyssa Thomas to become the league's assist leader. The achievement silenced any skepticism, with Clark showing that her talent is as undeniable as it is remarkable. Her performance marked another historic milestone in her budding career, proving once again that no lights are too bright for her. Her record-setting performance follows an earlier achievement when she notched 19 assists in a single game against the Dallas Wings back in July. After averaging 24.0 points, 8.5 assists, and 5.2 rebounds per game in August, Caitlyn was named the Rookie of the Month for the third time and August's Eastern Conference Player of the Month. With this honor, Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to earn the Player of the Month award. On September 4th, the Fever beat the Los Angeles in a 93-86 win, with Clark posting 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, marking her second career triple-double. During this game, she registered her 100th three-pointer made, making her the first to achieve in a rookie season and the fastest player in WNBA history to do so. It took her just 34 games. It was also Clark's third straight game with at least 20 points and 10 assists, equaling Courtney Vandersloot's streak from 2017 as the longest in WNBA history. Those are just some of her accomplishments. She has also had some unbelievable moments this season. Clearly, Caitlyn Clark has let her game do the talking in her WNBA rookie season. Despite all of this, Swoopes doesn't think Caitlyn has been dominant. Are we sure she is even watching the games?
The season. I feel like after the break, I still don't think she's dominating, but she's a different player than she was in the first half of the season. And I think because of her adjustment and her ability to play first half of the season, you have a break, and it was great.
This isn't the first time Swoopes has credited the break for the Fever's success rather than Caitlyn's stellar play. Despite many instances of Swoopes seemingly hating on or shading Caitlyn, this whole ordeal has been a one-sided affair, since Clark has not responded publicly to any of the stories surrounding what the WNBA legend has said about her. However, Caitlyn's fans have stuck up for her. After Swoopes stated she doesn't think Caitlyn has been dominant this season, many basketball fans decided to pull receipts, specifically comparing the Indiana Fever Stars rookie campaign to the years Swoopes won league MVP. One even claimed that if Swoopes doesn't believe Caitlyn is dominating this season, that also means she never dominated any of her MVP seasons. Another also showed how Caitlyn has been far more effective than Swoopes ever was. On top of that, recently, Caitlyn set another career high, this time in points. She dropped 35 points in a win over the Dallas Wings. Right away, fans pointed out that the scoring number was also higher than the career best performance from Swoopes. What followed was a series of posts making fun of how Swoopes is probably lining up another hate post about how Caitlyn took more shots than her to achieve that career high. Like we said earlier, the the newer generation of fans will know Swoopes for her outlandish takes rather than her incredible basketball ability. The reason for that is simple. Swoopes doesn't seem to rate Clark very much. Prior to this, she took another swipe at the 22-year-old by saying she has better players than Angel Reese does, which is why it's more impressive what Angel has done in her rookie year. But her blatant dismissal of a once-in-a-generation type of player is comical at this point. It is hard to give Cheryl the benefit of the doubt given her repeated inability to discuss Caitlyn without some sort of seeming bias. Swoopes even alluded to unrest in the Fever locker room without any evidence.
Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah. Now listen,
there's a lot of chicks more. What kind of things do you feel?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay.
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay.
It's a time.
This reminds us of the time when Swoopes went on a misinformation campaign in order to discredit Caitlyn Clark. Ironically enough, it was also when she appeared on Gil's podcast. Maybe she should stay clear of this podcast as it makes her say some outlandish things.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlyn should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
What Swoopes is talking about here is the women's all-time scoring record that Caitlyn set, and in doing so, broke Kelsey Plum's previous record. However, Caitlyn actually broke the record in less than 4 years, so Swoopes was hating for no reason. But it didn't end just there.
Like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but I know she can come back another year.
Here she is blatantly lying by saying that Caitlyn was 25 years old when she was dominating in college, when in fact, Caitlyn is only 22 years old. At least if you're going to hate, you should do it cleverly so that it's not so obvious. But it doesn't stop there. Swoopes continued to misinform the public about Caitlyn in order to push her agenda.
Caitlyn Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
Again, blatant lies. At the time, Caitlyn was taking 22.3 shots a game, which was actually lower than the number of shots Swoopes took in her college tenure. It's perfectly fine to criticize a player. Caitlyn will be the first one to tell you that she isn't perfect. She famously started her WNBA career setting an unflattering record. She scored 20 points in her debut game, but during that game, she also committed 10 turnovers, the most in a debut in WNBA history. The losses also piled up pretty quickly. However, one reason for the slow start has to be the tough schedule, but at the same time, when you're considered a legend coming into the WNBA, shouldn't you be great right away? However, in order for your critique to have some validity, you also have to give credit where credit is due.
If we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy.
5.6
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Caitlyn must be used to the hate by now. There have been a few instances where opposing players have hit her with dirty shots that should have resulted in ejections but weren't. Not to mention the overly physical defense that is constantly played on her. The type of defense that wouldn't be tolerated against any other player, but for some reason, against Caitlyn, it's fair game. However, when you're a superstar, you have to do more than win games. You have to generate views. That's part of the deal. And well, in that sense, she has exceeded expectations. Not only has she been rewriting history on the court, but she is changing the way the organization does business. But one bad take isn't a big deal. However, Swoopes has made it a habit of trying to downplay Caitlyn's skill set and having it come back to bite her. She found herself on the wrong side of history over and over again. At this point, if you aren't standing with Caitlyn, you are the odd one out. And right now, Sheryl Swoopes is exposing herself and her biasing with each one of her outlandish takes. Soon enough, people will know her as the Caitlyn Clark hater rather than the Hall of Famer that she is, and she will only have herself to blame for it.